Happy Thursday, folks. We pretty much have no agenda this week, so if there's anything folks want to chat about, now is a good time to add it to the list.
Yeah, I think my only thing is maybe touching upon updates to the bulk tag pushing stuff. Now that it's up in, I don't know, pr production of sorts on Docker Hub to experiment with, and then I had updated the language, but probably need to get another review on that.
Yeah, my own stuff on that one, I have not had a chance to make all the changes on my side to test it out and see how it works. So I'll be curious to play with that when I get some time.
I tried to test it, but of course, I immediately tried to test it with SHA-512, which Docker Hub doesn't support for manifests yet, so it didn't work. A
Wait,
little bit
wasn't
of a
that the whole
cell
reason we
phone.
were doing this?
Not the whole reason, but it was a reason, which is why it was what I reached for to test.
I have another PR up that I'll be merging in the probably not today. That fixes that issue though.
Yeah.
PR to Hub or to PR to the
P
OCI?
PR to Hub to allow
Okay.
non-canonical manifests digest.
I mean, that's Tina and I are on the same page there. That was going to be the first thing I was going to try.
It's coming.
So it would have failed for you too.
I feel like anything else, I wouldn't have had a good verification that my code was working. Because right now, all of my code is I can copy an image from a source to a target, but in that copy, I only can name one target. And so I wouldn't be able to use the multiple tags, but be able to have a digest assigned to the tag. That's where I get the value.
Yeah. Are we talking about the 512 support?
A little bit of that. We're chatting. Let me get the PR up, unless someone beats me to it. Where is my tab? There's my tab. Poll number 600.
Add it to the conformance tests. See how hard that is.
Yeah, that just means I got to implement on my side though. I test I test the
So you have a
conformance test against my
registry
own
to
code.
test against?
I have to have something to test the conformance against.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But also, as soon as I add to the conformance, someone's going to complain that I'm throwing stuff in there it didn't merge into the main branch. So there's a little chicken and eggy going on there. Not too much, especially because I can throw it behind a version flag. Jory, good to see you. I threw the upcoming events link out there for folks who want to see that. Let's see, in case anybody doesn't have that link. But Brian is asking about the must support pushing 5 times at once. Should not set an upper limit. Did you see the discussion around that one, Brian?
Don't think I did. I was just looking at the
It's
file changes.
there's a
Okay.
typo there.
Yeah,
That
that
should
is
be
definitely
five
a
tags
typo.
at once. But there's
Oh, okay.
There's also a discussion on the PR about URL length limits
or lack thereof.
or lack thereof and inconsistent URL length limits. And we need some kind of guidance to have clients be able to have a reasonable upper limit that they can expect to work.
Yep, this makes sense.
Yeah, so I think with that I'd update the language to say at least 5. Just yeah, after looking through the use cases, whenever that at least allows for like a latest, a major, a minor, and a patch tag to all be pushed at the same time. Um, Clearly there's going to be the Brandons and Tianans of the world that would want more, but at least that like allows for the common use case that I would see with this. And then I think probably need to update the spec to include one of the suggestions you had, Brandon, about hey, if you're sending more than is supported, we need to, you can send back I think a 416 error.
Let's see, I got 414 request URI too long. And Go is going to throw back a 431 request header fields too large if you blow out its limit.
Yeah, I think I'd probably do the generic like 414 and like make yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to account for what every web server in the world may or may not return because I think at that level you're blocking it before the application code really gets a chance to do anything with it.
Yeah, I was more thinking just to document that you may encounter it because there are a lot of Go implementations out there. And so, hey, if you see this come back, it's not necessarily saying that this one problem is definitely going to cause that one to get thrown, but just as an awareness to users.
Got it. Okay.
Because someone will hit that limit and eventually it'll be TAnon, but someone. Have you hit the limit yet, TAnon?
I definitely have instances of Docker official images that will be over that limit. 5 is absurdly low.
Well, not just the 5, but the Go's limit on the header. It's
Oh, yeah, I don't know that we've got any that would be that long.
I
yeah.
would say it's at least 5. You should expect that at least 5 would be done, but I don't think yeah, I would say in the hub implementation, there's not an upper limit. Um, I think it was just written as if this is supported, you should expect at least 5.
Yeah, but that means that for clients, they effectively, if they want to support multiple registries, have to cap it at 5. Because there's not a reasonable way to implement that logic with a fallback such that it tries some larger number and then what? Because the response is not necessarily going to be consistent to I gave too many. Because the server behavior is going to vary.
Yeah, what happens is Go takes the entire header, so all of the HTTP headers, but also the request URIs in there as well, and throws that into one buffer. And if you don't finish sending all the data in that buffer, it throws back an error.
It's okay, I'll just shrink my user agent. I'm sure that's exactly what Jeff intended. Instead of
Three
Go
character user agent.
HTTP client, I will change my user agent to be simply Go.
G, G1, G2.
Yeah. Or drop it entirely. We don't need user agent, right?
I feel like it should just be T, and we all know what that stands for.
There actually was one TypeScript project that did not send any user agent, and that was fun to track down.
I figured the T was just going to stand for TN.
That rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. If you haven't seen The Music Man, you should fix that.
Apparently. How much are you on this?
Um, I would like to chat about the events and meetings and that kind of stuff whenever you guys are ready for that little convo. But
Let's do it.
yay! Speaking of parties, as Brandon um shared, I have a spreadsheet. It has a lot of events in it. Obviously, one of the most important things our community can do is to submit talks to these different events. But secondly, another thing we can do is arrange for meetings and meetups, as we have done many times at KubeCon. And so I think my question to our friend group here is, of the sessions in that particular spreadsheet, do we know if we'll have a bit of critical mass at particularly like the KubeCon EU and or North America events for another meeting as we have done? Or are there other events that we would like to try and organize something at or around? I included as many as I thought might be relevant. So yeah, that's what I want to chat about.
I feel like we're the wrong audience for KubeCon EU. Doesn't mean that people that want to talk OCI won't be there, but
Yeah, it's
I
pretty important that we have like somebody at these events that can, you know, host the conversation and like kick it off and all that kind of stuff. Yes, Sam, sorry.
Sam, I was leaving an awkward gap there in case someone had to disagree with me on that. Jump in.
Yeah, we for most of the KubeCons we have, or at least the NA and the EU KubeCons, we've usually had like an in-person OCI meeting. I don't know who is planning on being at EU. I don't expect to be there for this one, but it's been helpful to have a room and just have a conversation for a couple hours there in person. You get a slightly different audience than we get on these calls, and a little bit more of a different interaction style in person than it is via Zoom too. But that's been useful before. I would expect it to be useful again if we're going to have people that are attending.
Yeah, I was not saying not to have a meeting. My wrong audience was just leaving it open in case people here might have wanted to disagree with me and say, I'll be there. But I had a feeling a lot of people here won't make it out.
Maybe just really quick, I'll go into Slack and in general and say um can I use the at here, or does that like cause people, oh, Slackbot uses at here, I can use at here.
I feel like at here is the nicer of the two.
Yeah.
You jump into the at everyone, someone might get upset.
KubeCon EU in Amsterdam near the end of the month.
May 28th, 18th and 20th. Or sorry, that was Open Source Summit. KubeCon, March 23rd, 26th.
Yeah. So we can it is so easy for us to ask and receive a room, right, for a meeting. That is an easy ask, it's an easy get. What's again more effective when we have these is if there's somebody who not only are they going to attend, but they're going to lead a conversation. They're going to help seed and start And, in an ideal world, we have something that we can point to that says, hey, we're going to be meeting at this room. And for, the 2 hours that we have, we're going to plan to talk about X and Y. And then it gives a signal for folks, they know what to expect. And maybe we don't just talk about those things. Maybe we talk about other things too. But it's about sort of setting up the invitation successfully so that it's not people feel like it's adding value and they're excited to come have the next conversation. So maybe or maybe not for March, because to my knowledge, none of our usual suspects are going to be in Amsterdam. But as we look at the other events in especially in North America, do you guys want to try and plan ahead for Salt Lake, for which feels like an eternity away, or for Minneapolis or something like that? So
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that having someone that is sort of one of our regular attendees facilitating the in-person meeting ends up being pretty important. So if we don't have anyone for Amsterdam, then maybe it doesn't add a lot of value to have that. I don't, know for sure yet, but Salt Lake City is probably going to be one that I'm going to try to go to. So thinking ahead about that, I would be happy to facilitate, an in-person OCI meeting at Salt Lake if I do actually end up going. I don't know if any of the other ones on the list are going to end up being realistic for me just based on timing and location. I would love to go on an international one, but that's a question of both, uh, work funding the travel plus some personal things to work out.
mm.
And I'm wondering if the work on the conformance test and distribution spec might be ready in time for a Salt Lake presentation.
That would be pretty dope, or even just an update on it.
Definitely an update on that would be possible. Be nice if it was merged. I doubt it would be merged by then just because I know how slow we can be, but visible for folks to try out and give some feedback on. It might be well past that point. If I were to submit to that one, would LF have some travel budget?
LF and or OCI, my darling, of course.
See if I can work that out. I had to double check the date there. We're, I think, a week after the election week. Try to work elections too, so that's one extra day that I want to make sure I keep available.
So another opportunity is, when we think about these international conferences, which it's harder for us to swing most of the time, right? Like getting your bosses to convincing your bosses to send you to, for example, South Korea would be a dream, but it's often not feasible. But there is a benefit where we can engage in the international conferences in like really locating and activating people in those communities who do use the technology, who are who are excited about it, but we've never been there, so it's never been accessible to them. And so this is something y'all will have to really advise me on here, because I don't know to what extent there might be pockets of untapped interest or interest in slash adoption of OCI in places that we just have a harder time reaching because of time zones, because of language, whatever. Um, there's growth in those marketplaces. So, um, we have Open Source Summit India in a couple weeks / KubeCon India. We have Korea, we have Japan. Um, for you all as sort of the dedicated um, team, do you think that there's interest and value in trying to activate people from some of these places?
I think especially on the runtime spec side, we might have some more folks that are coming in from Pacific regions. Just kind of looking at the names on the list here, and there are folks from like Huawei, and I'm not sure where some of these folks are coming from. So I'm just kind of looking through that list. I think Akihiro is also out on, NTT group and whatnot. So we'll get some folks on that spec that might be in some of those other events.
So so July with the do okay, that's good to know.
I
So
don't know if they would
opportunity.
want to lead something, but there's a much better chance of someone like that attending one of those events.
Yeah, there's a good number of people that are based in Japan that I would expect to be at the KubeCon Japan or maybe the Open Source Summit Japan. And similarly, there's people in China that I'd expect to be in the KubeCon China.
Yeah,
So
from between both the runtime spec and the Run C project itself, I think you might get a few folks there. And we see that a little bit with the KubeCon in general. I feel like we get better turnouts from that side of the house that want to chat about the runtime spec in person. Not picking any particular location, but just that event. That seems to be the topic that a lot of people want to chat about. And I suspect some of that is because Containerd has representation there and fairly close to that same level of Containerd.
we've never hosted, as far as y'all know, like a OCI meeting at KubeCon Japan, for example, though, right?
Not that I'm aware
I
of.
don't think so.
Okay. I think it could be really interesting if we do have some folks. I think it could be really interesting for us to try and in the same way that we've had, Phil and others gather. Oh my gosh, Sam, your kids are so cute. Um, it could be really interesting to have like a local language meeting. I think they would appreciate that.
Mhm. Yeah, I
All
feel like for
right.
our part, the nice thing to do for us is just to have it recorded. And that way you can go out for anybody who wants to look at it later on.
Yeah. And you know, recording it and having it available, even maybe even especially if it's in if they conduct the conversation in Japanese, like I think that's really good for the project.
And recording can be as easy as we did last time, which is a laptop dialed into Zoom.
Mhm. So I Did you name a name or did you just mention specific companies that might be at Japan that we could talk to?
I mean, the two that jumped out to me first was Akihiro and
Here, that's
Toru.
right.
I don't know Toru, but just looking at the email address, I'm guessing. And isn't Alexa coming from
Oh yeah.
he's coming from Pacific somewhere over there. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure
that's
if it
his
was
side of
Australia
the
or New Zealand.
He's in Australia, but I
Okay.
think he would go.
yeah. Okay. That's super good point. Um, so maybe he would be up for that too. So I can try some outreach to those folks, specifically for the July event in Japan. I will double check. I think I've got a somewhat out of date at this point registration list from Europe in a couple weeks, but I don't recall having any of their familiar faces there for Amsterdam, so we probably are a little late for that. But for North America, of course, we have plenty of time. Um, and yeah, I just would love y'all's help and support, like reminding folks that these are good speaking opportunities for OCI. There is often travel support, and especially if we have a OCI talk selected, there's a little bit of budget from um, in within the OCI to support travel. So we want to make sure everybody sees us alive, a well, strong, happy, functioning little project that we are.
I figured if OCI was going to cover any travel for me, I would show up not just for a talk, but to man a table and give out stickers.
Mm. Um, yeah, and I talked a little with Chris about sort of, hey man, because they have some that they have some like expect or I shouldn't say expectations, like policies around like the project CNCF projects can have tables, and we're not a CNCF project, but I think we should have a
Yeah.
table. And so uh
Uh,
and I
I
think he
was
sees
saying
it that
that
way.
less
Yeah.
as an obligation on them to give us a table and more on me as an obligation of, hey, if somebody's going to pay my budget over there, I should be willing to do that.
Well, step one
So,
is we'll get a table.
yeah. So if they can't get a table at all, okay. But if we do, I would be willing to step up and spend some time sitting and talking to folks.
And then the only other item I have, just to make sure everybody has a invite and remembers, we've got a TOB meeting on the 9th. And Sam, I'm just gonna shoot you a little Slack message about
For the
uh
TOPs.
yeah, the agenda.
Yeah. Yeah. Agenda wise, I know we want to chat about how to handle
Hmm.
the open seat. The other one I was thinking of was we've had some discussion back and forth on copyright headers and whether we want to try to push that across to the various projects from a central thou shall use this header.
Um,
There's an
I
issue on
think,
that one if you're looking for
oh
it.
yeah, you did ping me on that one. Sorry. Yes, I will go
I don't
refresh
know
my
if
memory.
I might have
Somebody
pinged you on
pinged
it,
me
but
on a copyright question.
yeah,
It
definitely
wasn't you.
probably pinged you on copyright and you even commented on it, but
Okay.
I will drop
I'm
the issue
sorry, I
up.
don't remember anything.
No, no, no. You've got a lot on your plate. We're just happy to have you back. Thinking
Just
about
like
this one,
go to sleep and
151. So a combination of us dealing with
Oh, 151. Yeah. Okay. What we got? What we got? Um,
I'll get the other one in there too. That way,
okay.
let's see, number of
Yes, we
seats.
can talk about this one. Perfect. We'll put
I,
151 on
I
there.
figure it's just kind of like an open spot to get people to put their ideas just in case. And does Saj already dropped? Yeah, he already dropped. I'll wave goodbye to him. But yeah, for folks that wanted to express something not in the chat, but otherwise, we also need to elect our chair. That might be a good point to elect our chair as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think doing the chair election as part of that would be pretty easy.
I mean, it's going to be Sam. We all like Sam.
I mean, someone else could decide to run too.
Yeah, but they
Unless someone
could, but they
ever,
won't.
if someone ever tries to run against you, that's it. I'm going all in on that one. But I'm too happy having you as chair.
I've had other people run against me before. Wouldn't be the first time.
And they all lost.
There could be only one.
You do a good job of it.
Pretty easy job.
Tianan, is there anything you would like to put on the agenda for the puns? I'd like to propose that Tianan become the pun master of OCI.
Now,
Anything
now
you
that I will run against him.
Please do. It's too easy to make Jory laugh. She laughs at all my jokes. I feel kind of spoiled, actually.
Those were jokes.
do you want, is there anything you would like to see us cover in a meeting?
uh,
In the TOB meeting.
yeah, can we abolish synchronous meetings?
I mean, we moved this meeting around just for you.
Yeah,
No, okay, listen,
just
that is not just no. That I'm gonna come to Tina's defense here. I decided, so Jacqueline, who is awesome, but is also new to me. Um, she let me know that Tiernan wasn't going to be available at the time that we selected, but I feel that Tiernan's been really important from an engagement standpoint. So I told Jacqueline we had to reschedule. So this is not him.
I'm glad we found a time that you can make it.
but
Yeah.
even just looking at the distribution of the TOB geographically, there's not a time that exists that satisfies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Someone's always getting bit.
yeah,
Yep.
you have this I suppose maybe what I'm trying to think about addressing is just caretaking. Um, our trademark board partners are really important. Um, they provide us a lot of cover and financial support, but they really don't meet at all. They don't need to, as far as they're concerned. Um, and our technical community here, this call meets quite regularly. I just want to make sure that to the extent that you all have um, resourcing needs, that you have direction you want to travel in, that you have like, you know, plans or that there are hopes, dreams, desires, whatever for engagement and continuity, that you're getting the sort of cooperative organizational support that you need. And sometimes that is easily done in Slack or mailing lists. Sometimes you need that meeting for good hygiene, you know. Just trying to be your cheerleader.
So Sam and Tiernan might know this better than I do, but we don't have much visibility from the trademark board in general because they kind of do all their stuff, as best I understand, kind of behind the scenes. Maybe they just don't have anything to do and we just never see because of that. But are we keeping them happy? Is there stuff that we should be doing that they're like, why isn't OCI doing this stuff? We're paying all this money to this group.
Tianan, do you want to take that?
Yeah, I mean, I can try and read the tea leaves there. I I think they're just happy that we still exist. Um, I haven't seen anyone really angry about it, about anything. All the trademark board conversations I've seen have been, yeah, great work. Keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just, here's another year of funding?
Yeah,
Pretty
basically.
much. Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the spreadsheet with the budgets. We didn't spend as much money as we even planned on, even though we decreased the budget from last year because last year we didn't spend as much money as we planned on. Jory's trying to fix that single-handedly with stickers, I bet.
So my new
There's some good
strategy is
stickers.
just to mail everybody stickers.
I mean, the
No, I
stick
mean,
is pretty good, so
okay. Well, I think you know, there's you're not seeing a lot of visibility from the trademark board because this is no longer something that cause anybody's losing any sleep over, which is yay, that's great. They're generally happy as long as we're happy and continuing our work, and they're happy to support whatever it is this technical community kind of agrees to. But I think what's missing for them to really feel even better about their investment in us is um, more insight into our plans, our hopes, our desires, because then that's something that they can say, oh, great, that's what our money is being put to good use for, not just Jory's sticker campaign. Or we
Can
could,
we just rename Joy Sticker Campaign to other stuff and they get convinced they're doing other awesome stuff?
I was gonna make a crack about us all just getting OCI tattoos, and then just kidding.
Wait, y'all haven't done that already?
Oh my God, if I got a tattoo for every project I supported, there's an idea. Um, that'd be quite funny. But I think it's that's the gist of the. I mean, I obviously it's easy to capture that as should we have more meetings, but I don't wish meetings upon TNN at all. But it's more like can we facilitate that conversation, so that everybody continues their investment, continues to feel good about um, what we're doing and how to get involved and all of that good stuff. So
Cool. Yeah, hopefully, at least on the distribution specs side, getting some nice conformance stuff will make people happy they're seeing some value out of the project.
yeah.
Wall of shame. Wall of shame.
I just know that Tiana is looking for more conformance than people are ready to accept.
It's true.
I was going to leave it out for you to start shaming some people, but
Oh, they know who they are.
I think we could just start a podcast that's like Tianan's airing of grievances. And you just
I would get sued so fast.
you might get fired.
Yeah, I'd be less worried about getting fired as I would about getting sued.
Oh man. We're far too far away from Festivus right now. My brain is not on that part. not on that path right now. All right. Well, I think we have a TOB meeting agenda.
Mm-hmm. I've noted it via Slack messages to Sam.
Awesome sauce.
And but I'll send it around in a. Do you want to use HackMD
We can use a HackMD.
for
I think I
that
found
meeting?
out who the owner might be,
Oh, yes.
but the owner that it might be does not have access to go in there. He can't find it in his list because I think it's Phil's.
Interesting.
He's the one that announced it back on the IRC channel way back in the day when I was going back to the IRC logs to move things over. I saw that Phil was the one that posted the link. But I checked with him and
Okay.
he went looking. He tried a couple of his logins. He was like, I can't find it because whenever I go in there, it just shows it to me like it's any of the other public ones. And he's tried a couple different logins over there, whether it was like a GitHub login or an email login or something like that.
Well, let me
So,
try the HackMD support team.
so yeah,
Um,
his one thought of his was to ping HackMD directly and see if they can see who owns it and how the login's supposed to be done. The other thought I've got is we can always fork this, make a new one, and
yeah,
just put a comment on this one that says, hey, here's the old one, use the new one, send out a new meeting invite.
we could do that. There's something
Um,
about like,
I like it to be owned by OCI if we can.
right. And I feel, I don't know, there's something like, I know it's digital, but like there's like a housekeeping thing. It's like, people who save all of the toilet paper rolls. That is kind of how I am by default. And there's a part of me that wants to not leave this digital sort of hangnail. It's a weird
At,
way of,
at the least, these all keep getting archived off into our GitHub. So
yeah, yeah, no.
it's it's more of a temporary landing place. For the TOB, if you want to spin up a little temporary side HackMD, and then when we're all done, we'll just archive that off, put the minutes over in the GitHub as well. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy.
Well, I'm gonna try and I'm just trying to find somebody and hack MD anyway. But yeah,
I mean, if you don't want to throw it under yours, I can throw it under mine. That's trivial. I think Phil said he's got a bunch of them for different projects under his own account.
I do too. I'm, I have probably too many. Oh well. Oh well.
Story of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we got the agenda for that. Upcoming events, we'll sort that out, especially as we get closer to North America. But if you get any of the folks from Japan on there, that would be awesome to set
Yeah,
up a room over there.
I'll be diving into options there, and we can maybe, if we get any responses back, I can share those in Slack.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Well, we've been losing people. They've been dropping off here.
They're
I
like
think that
tired of hearing these people
might be a good time to
chatter.
wrap it up.
Okay. All right, we'll talk to you guys on Monday.
All righty. Thanks for organizing that as always, Jory.
Of course, we'll talk
And
to you guys soon.
chat then. Cheers all.
Bye.
Thank you.